71% of all businesses that start never make their 10th anniversary. So literally 3 out of 10 survive and others don't. 97% of people have no plan. They run by the seat of their pants on a daily basis. There's 3% that do actually have a plan, and that's scary.
If we actually treat our business in this way and take care of it, then it doesn't matter if we're locked down or COVID and whatever, we're in better shape.
If you want to avoid failing in your business, then this video is perfect for you. Hi, it's Linh Podetti here. Today's guest is Simon Harris, business coach, also known as the Business Alchemist, who I've known for many years, and he has also coached my husband's business before. I love his passion and experience in working with small businesses and his in-depth knowledge about what it truly takes to survive in business. Today, we discuss why businesses fail, how to avoid failure, and explore how he helps clients by combining financial and business coaching to truly help businesses succeed and achieve their financial goals.
Hi, Simon. So good to speak to you today.
Hey, Lynn, how you doing?
I'm good. Now, I've known you for a while because you've been a business coach for my own husband, and I always look up to you when it comes to business advice. And, I think today's topic, I really want to touch on, business failures, because I know it's so hard to be in business. Even when the environment and the economy is good, businesses still fail, let alone during this hard time with so many uncertainty, there is more chance of failure. So with all your years of experience, I would love to touch on, why do businesses fail?
Let me take a little step back. Financially, it's a really interesting time of year. We've kind of just, pitched past the year end, financial year end. A lot of businesses are looking at their P&Ls and they're looking at one number at the bottom, and it'll say a profit figure or a loss figure, hopefully not. And the typical question is, it looks like I've made a profit, where's the money? And, if you're not happy with the money that's at the bottom, plan A is clearly not working. It's time to look at plan B, whatever that is for you. We'll talk about that further in the track. But, we hired a PhD researcher, he has literally a propeller on his head, right? And we sent him away and said, go and do some research and tell me how does small business survive? How well do ABNs register, and how quickly do they fall off the register? And someone who's the ATO, if you're 5 BASs delinquent or more, they consider you're no longer trading, right? So that's, a year and a quarter of non-trading. So entries, exits, we looked at ATO, ABS, we looked at Family Business Australia, we looked at everything and came up with a number which is pretty horrific. 71% of all businesses that start never make their 10th anniversary. Yep. So literally 3 out of 10 survive and others don't. The challenge, I think we nailed it down to 9 components or 9 core functions or reason for failure. And interestingly enough, 5 of those, the top 5, were all financially driven. And I'll put it this way here. I'm talking typically, right? There are people that are doing seriously well and those not, but of those that fail, you ask them the question, tell me about your profitability, and they can't, but you ask them about their football on the weekend and they're all over it. They can yardage and, all the scores and who's done what. But when you ask them the critical questions of how many leads came in last week, how many did you convert, what's your average invoice value, what's your margin, we get crickets. And nowhere in any trade or professional, we had a surgeon, 15 years of training to get to where he's at. He does hand surgery. And we asked him, of those 15 years, runs a multi-million-dollar surgery, how many days, weeks, hours, months did you get in your 15 years of running a business? And they got 2 hours from an accountant on budgeting. So even at the top end of most highly skilled people, we're not taught to run the financials of a business. And I think it's a little bit like having your finger on the pulse. There are some core numbers that you got to know. And it's interesting, when you start talking numbers with clients, a lot of them just kind of gloss over and don't want to, that's what my bookkeeper does, my husband, my wife does the books, whatever that is. And they trust it to someone else, when the reality is, accounting is the language of business. If you don't understand the language, you can't play the game. A little bit like cricket. If you were a foreigner watching cricket with silly mid-ons and googlies and full tosses and maidens and the maiden overs, you wouldn't have a clue how to watch that game. Well, business is kind of the same. There are a bunch of numbers and names and words you need to actually be really good with. It's okay to have someone else give you those numbers, but if you don't understand and can't interpret them, that's why we see failure.
Okay,
Yep.
so what you're saying is like, well, I was the guilty, by the way. For many years, I was like, I'm not good with numbers. I don't want, like, you just avoid. It's something that you don't know, so you avoid. But I also think it comes down to not knowing who can actually help me digest that now. Because yes, you're right. They have the accountant that will give you the numbers and all that. But I think what's missing in the marketplace was business coaches who actually even care enough about those numbers to interpret those numbers and give it to you. And so that's why I was really interested in speaking to you, because you kind of innovated a service that I think is so valuable. Can you talk more about that side of thing? Okay, cool. You have these numbers, and then what happens from there that can be really helpful for business owners?
Yeah, well, let's look at the accounting industry. It's 700 years old. It's been around for a long. In fact, when you do a list of the most trusted job roles or vocations, I think ambulance driver and police are right up there. But an accountant, lawyer, and all those sort of people are very, very close. So we trust them. But what I've found is since 2007, organizations like products like Xero or QuickBooks Online or MYOB have brought in a bunch of artificial intelligence, AI. So you can literally sit in traffic and do your own reconciliations now and reconcile your bank balance. So all of that work used to be done by your accountant, and they used to charge for it. But what I've found now is that all of that is, and it's around about 60% of work that accountants used to do is now automated. Or we're doing it because it's easy on your phone or your app. But the interesting thing is then that the bills from your accountant have not dropped by 60%. In fact, they continue to go up. So I think there's a little bit of disrespect going in there. And compliance, so there's two types of accounting. Compliance accounting, which helps you sleep at night knowing you're on top of what you owe the government as far as tax is concerned, and you're paying your super and doing all those things. And that's compliance work. And I now do that for my clients for free. I'm not even charging for that because I think it's a vanilla-based service and something that almost anyone can do with the right software, the right support, and an accountant sitting in the background. The really interesting part comes in is the second part of accounting is management accounting. And what that means is accounting that actually makes sense to most business owners. So margin analysis, am I charging the right price? So I buy a product, I do something to it, I sell it, or I hire labor to deliver that product, like a builder or whoever. Is my pricing on the mark? And most people, when they look at pricing, they usually do what the rest of the market's doing. Cost plus, or whatever my labor, and they're following a competitor's pricing because they're worried, and that's not the best thing because you've got no idea how efficient or effective that guy or gal is running that business. So, pricing analysis, looking at your P&L and all your line items, all your expenses, are they about right for my industry? So benchmarking against other people in your industry, just to know you're in the right sort of place. Cash flow forecasting. So predicting your bank balance 12 weeks out, not 12 months out, just 12 weeks out. So looking at all your current costs and how much money so we can actually set the exact number of dollars you need to invoice each week, whether it be $1,000, $2,000, $200,000, $1 million, whatever that number is. We know what you need to invoice every week in order to, with all your known costs, make a profit. So budgeting, cash flow forecasting, margin and pricing analysis, benchmarking, all of the things that you actually want from your accountant, but unless you ask for, they're unlikely because they're so busy keeping you compliant with the tax office.
Yeah, I think I've been in that boat where I just expected the accountant to be doing compliance. It wasn't until I actually had to invest in kind of like a CFO type role. But what's missing is still, I think, investing in a business coach who can give you recommendation, because even a CFO would just kind of be analyzing the numbers, telling you how the trend is, The next part to your equation is almost, okay, how do we fix this situation, right? So can you share a little bit about let's just say you've got those numbers and it's poor. Like, what would you do next with the clients? Like, do you strategize? Is there some sort of steps that you take clients through?
Good question. Every client is different, right? And I draw from this wonderful, what's called the entrepreneurial operating system. And there's about 300 tactics and strategies we draw, depends upon where the client's currently at. So essentially, the numbers are everything. They're the foundation. It's like if you're building a house, the most important part is the footings, foundation, the concrete slab. If you're building a house on sand, it ain't going to last long, right? So I guess the way I do, I like to get into the numbers very, very quickly. Let's figure out where your money goes. Let's figure out where your margin's at. Let's figure out a cash flow forecast. Let's figure out your budget for the next 12 months. And all those things might sound awkward or tough to do. They're not if you've got a simple model. So I take everyone through a cash flow forecasting tool. I educate them on how to do it, and or bookkeeper, husband, wife, whoever does books, cousin, whatever. We get the fundamentals right, and then we can say, okay, well, let's start ratcheting our price up, because from a benchmark perspective, you're cheap in the marketplace. Your labor's too cheap, or you're not adding enough margin in place. Then I show them how to do quotes effectively. So stop quoting and start doing action plans. So we start looking at, okay, now our quotes are starting to convert well. How do we find more of the right customers? We take them through a marketing program, which is called the 4 forces. Every client buys for one of 4 reasons. They're either their wants and aspirations, their fears and frustrations. So once we figure out our ideal client, then we can tune our marketing. Then we go to the team. Have we got the right players on the field in the team doing the right things? So we've got to recruit, hire, train, motivate, incent. Sometimes we have to move on. In the family businesses, that's really tough, but sometimes to move some players on that shouldn't be there. Then we look at team culture, because that's the thing that holds the team together. And the example I always use are the All Blacks. They're the winningest team of any sport code internationally for the last 100 and something years. They've got a 75% win-loss ratio, and they draw from a population pool of just under 4.5 million.
They're the New Zealand rugby team. Is it a New Zealand rugby? Yeah.
And how the hell do they do that? You know, Australia has 5 times the population. England has like 20 times the population. They should beat us by the stats. But it's actually a huge part of what we do is getting the team culture right. If you want a high-performing team producing high results, we've got to have a culture that holds them all together. So yeah, we've got financials, we've got systems that convert, we've got sales, we've got marketing, we've got people, we've got others. I think I mentioned systems. We love building systems with our clients. So helping them automate the VA services, getting things out the door and getting the right people doing the right jobs. And so it's, as I said, no 2 clients go through a coaching program with me the same way. Yes, we do all of the compliance work kind of the same way, because those are set rules. You can't mess with those rules. When it comes to sales, marketing, systems, people, the rest of it, we have lots of fun.
Yeah, I just love that you just really built a holistic system around business. And I think it ties up to the first point about failure. I mean, if we actually treat our business in this way and take care of it, then it doesn't matter if we're locked down or COVID and whatever. We're in better shape to handle challenges than it is when we're already lost the way we are, let alone when something like a storm comes along, and this is where business will crumble. Any other last tip that you want the audience to take away with?
People say to me, I wish my team was on the same page as me. I get that a lot. And I ask them, so where's the page? What page are they on? And most of them scratch their heads going, I never thought about that. So I'm not a fan of, a big 20-page business plan, but I am a fan of setting some goals 12 months out, and then breaking those goals down into a sort of bite-sized chunks of, 3 months. It's a little bit like then if you and I are going to drive to Melbourne, and it's at night time, I don't need to see the lights all the way to Melbourne. I just need to see the next couple of 100 meters so I can adjust the steering wheel and turn left and right. So I don't need to see exactly how it's all going to, I know I'm going to Melbourne. I just need to see the next couple of 100 meters. And we light that up in the 90-day plan. And that 90-day plan usually has 3 projects that we're working on. It might be a recruitment project. It might be a team incentive. It might be a culture. It might be a system or some financial thing we work on. Every quarter, we're working on 3 projects. And it's those 3 projects which help us achieve our end goal, which might be 12 months out or 2 years out or 3 years out, whatever that is. So I think when people say, I wish my team's on the same page as me, most of you don't. And in fact, the numbers are 97% of people have no plan. They run by the seat of their pants on a daily basis. There's 3% that do actually have a plan, and that's scary. That's really scary, is that we kind of go to work every day and our email or the phone rules our day, rules our diary. So I'm a huge fan of not a 20-page plan, it's a 1-page plan. In fact, all of my plans are on a project placemat called the project placemat. It sits on your keyboard, so it's there relevant every single day. Yep, that'd be my big advice.
Beautiful. So how do people connect with you, Simon?
Theacademy.net.au is a great place to start. There's a bunch of clients in there that have actually been through the program, and they're kind of giving you their feedback on what they got. This is not for the faint-hearted. you know, if you're not prepared to put work in, it's a little bit like hiring a personal trainer. They can't do their push-ups, your push-ups for you. You have to do them. They'll give you the plan. They'll look at your goals. In fact, many people use the analogy of like a personal trainer for the business in a way. Is it, let's devise a plan and then a weekly set of activities that have to happen in order for you to reach your goals. But they can't do your push-ups for you. So jump and have a look at theacademy.net.au, have a look, and if you're up for the ride, then a quick phone call, a 10, 15-minute phone call figures that out real quick.
Love it. Thank you so much, Simon. I learned so much, and I know that the audience will have too, and we can all avoid failure if we just do the right things as you mentioned today. Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks, Lynn.
Well, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe because I regularly invite experts to come on my show. You basically get free coaching when you watch my videos. I make sure to always ask them lots of valuable questions. Now, if you'd like to discover more ways to grow your business, you can check out my next video here.